Hi, folks. I hope you're doing well and had a great weekend. Today, I want to start talking about building capital, how to start building capital and framing that conversation correctly. And spoiler alert, there's no secret technique, there's no silver bullet, there's no uh, do this and double your money in 1 month. It's what we know, but what we struggle to do. It's all about behavior and being consistent. Most people think building capital requires large amounts of money. It doesn't. It simply requires a different way of thinking about money. Capital is not built in large moments, it's built in consistent decisions over time. It is truly about slow and steady. Not by what you earn occasionally, but by what you keep and deploy repeatedly. I'll repeat that. Not by what you earn occasionally, but by what you keep and deploy repeatedly. And I think this is the key thing that most people miss, because I think many people truly underestimate what is possible over 10, 20, 30 years. They overestimate what they can do in 1 year, and they truly, truly underestimate what's possible over 10, 20, 30 years. Consistently keeping and deploying capital repeatedly. Because for most middle income earners with a stable income, the real constraint is not financial. The problem is not how much they're earning. The real constraint is not financial, it is behavioral. It is what they are doing with their income. Wealth in its early stages is less about how much you make and more about what you consistently do with it. Before capital can grow, it must first be protected, because you cannot compound what you do not keep. That is the core principle behind building capital and building wealth. Before capital can grow, it must first be protected, because you cannot compound what you do not keep. So, how do we do this? The first step is you must separate income from capital. The two are not the same thing. Most people mix up the two things. They think income and capital is the same thing. It's not. What I mean by that is most people treat all income as available to spend. And that's why they never create wealth. Not You can't use all your income on your spending. So the key issue and the thing that you got to do right at the beginning is separate income from capital. You cannot treat all income as available to spend. If you're trying to build wealth, you got to create a simple distinction. Income supports your lifestyle, capital builds future wealth. If you don't separate them, then capital never forms at all. You can't compound what you don't keep. Okay. The second thing is you gotta pay yourself first. I know you've heard this a million times, but you will hear it a million times more, because guess what? It actually works. Don't wait to see what's left over, because there's usually nothing left over. Why? Because you're using your whole income for lifestyle. You haven't separated income from capital. Don't wait to see what's left over, because there's usually nothing left. You gotta decide in advance how much of what I earn is going towards my lifestyle and how much is going towards actually creating wealth. So a percentage of everything that you earn has to go directly into your capital, creating your capital structure. Automatically, consistently, and without negotiation. Number three, you gotta start before you feel ready, because there is never a future date where you will be ready. Most people delay building capital because they say, I'll start when I earn more, I'll start when I have less debt, I'll start when I've gotten that promotion. You will never be ready. You gotta start before you feel ready. So most people delay building capital because they say, I'll start when I've reached X goal, insert whatever you want there. But the habit of building capital is more important than the amount. The habit of building capital is more important than the amount. I would rather, even if you're saving 50 Rand a month, 100 Rand a month, in the beginning, the most important thing is not the amount, it is actually developing the habit, because that is what people struggle with. That's why people struggle to build wealth over 10, 20, 30 years. They get bored too easily. They never develop the habit of consistently keeping and deploying capital for the specific purposes of creating wealth. So the habit of building capital in the beginning is more important than the amount, because behavior compounds before money does. Behavior compounds before money does. So the habit is more important than the amount at the beginning. Number four, focus on ownership, not just saving. This is the difference between investing and saving. Saving is not enough. Capital must be deployed. What does that mean in plain English? You must start using that capital that you are building up to start owning income generating assets. That is essentially what investing is that you are deploying your capital in a consistent manner to own assets that generate an income. So that means owning assets that can grow over time, not just holding cash, because the goal is not to store money for storing money's sake, but it is to position it for growth. Okay. So you got to focus on ownership, not just savings. Number five, stay consistent, not perfect. Like I said, the behavior compounds before the money does. You will not allocate perfectly. You will make mistakes when investing. You'll lose interest. You'll get bored. You might get retrenched. You might have to pay debt. The point I'm trying to make is life will happen, but you gotta stay consistent. That is probably the hardest part. Stay consistent, not perfect, because it's not going to be a smooth line. You will not allocate perfectly. Markets will move. Life will happen. What matters is you continue to build and deploy capital again and again and again, because consistency is what allows compounding to take effect. Number six, last but not least, is you gotta give it time. I said right at the beginning, people underestimate what they can build over 10, 20, 30 years. And the reality is that seems like a long time, but that time will pass nonetheless. 10 years is a long time. 20 years is an even longer time. 30 years is a lifetime, but that time will pass nonetheless. So in building your capital strategy, give it time. Give it time. Capital feels slow in the beginning, almost invisible, but compounding is not linear. It accelerates later. You actually got to build a sizable amount to truly start seeing your money compound. It accelerates later after consistency has been maintained. So give it time. Wealth is not built in intensity. It is built in consistency over time. Anyone can earn, some can multiply, but those who build wealth learn to keep, deploy, and compound. And that's what I'll be talking about in my next video, where to actually deploy capital and how to think about investments in a way that doesn't make it complex, in a way that makes it practical. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you tomorrow.